I'm Lily. Today I'm going to read you the story Little Women. Lidyngate Level 3B. Little Women. Okay, let's read it. Little Women. Hello, dear reader, and welcome to the tale of the four March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. I only get to share a few of their adventures with you today, but I encourage you to learn all about them when you find the time. Meg was the oldest March sister. She was kind and responsible and a great help to her mother. It sometimes seemed like she herself was a mom to the other three. Jo was second oldest. Some may have said Jo was a tomboy, but Jo just felt she was an independent-minded woman. Beth was second youngest. She was quite caring and enjoyed making her sisters happy. Beth was a talented musician and loved to play piano for her family. Amy was the baby of the family. She loved beautiful things and she was a wonderful artist, but sometimes she worried about appearances too much. The girls lived on the east coast of America for a long time ago during the American Civil War. Their mother, Marmee, had a lot to do. As their father was away serving as a chaplain in the war, there was little he could help his little women beyond his words of encouragement. With Christmas just days away, the girls were excited to receive a letter from their father. They were gathered around the fire here to hear Mommy read it aloud. At the end of the letter, their father wished his girls his love and reminded his little women to work hard and to do their best in all they do. The letter inspired each girl in her own way. Amy said she would try not to be selfish. Meg vowed to work harder. Jo promised to pay more attention to her duties at home and spend less time daydreaming of great adventures. Beth just cried, wishing her father could be with them. The girls woke Christmas morning to discover their mother was not home. The housekeeper Hannah explained that their mother had gone to see a woman who needed help. You know your mother, Hannah reminded them. She cannot refuse to help people in need. When Mommy returned home, she told the girls she had been with the Hammers, a very poor family that lived nearby. Mommy asked the girls if they wanted to give the Hammers their Christmas breakfast. The four little women's father would have been proud to see them packing up their food for the neighbors. When they arrived at the Hammer house, they helped feed the children and light a fire to keep them warm. Mrs. Hammer beamed and said angels had come to save them. That evening, March sisters' kindness was returned many times over as they were wealthy neighbor. Mr. Lawrence had heard of their kind act and sent them a Christmas feast, complete with cake, fruit, bonbons, fancy flowers, and even ice cream. Wealthy Mr. Lawrence had a grandson named Laurie. Laurie was an only child and he had been raised by his grandfather ever since his parents died. Often Laurie would watch the March family through his window, wishing he could have some company. Jo was the first of the little women to become friends with Laurie. Jo noticed Laurie looking out his window. One day she decided to invite him to come out to play. She threw a snowball at him and he leaned off his window. And she yelled for him to join in the fun. Larry could not come out in the court because as he was recovering from being ill, but he invited Jo in for a visit. Jo was very happy to visit and offered to read him to while he regained his strength. Jo discovered that Laurie's grandfather had a huge library which Jo loved and beautiful piano which Beth would play. Soon all the March girls were spending time with Laurie and grew to love their times at Lawrence's house. The Lawrence home was a fun addition to their lives, but some of the girls' favorite times were when they held meetings of the Pickwick Club in their very own attic. The Pickwick Club was a rainy day society the sisters created so they could publish their own newspapers and share it aloud with one another. Often they pretended to be different characters in the society. In the Pickwick Club newspaper, the sisters would write stories, poems, jokes, and news. They shared much laughter while reading it aloud. Joe loved Joe loved writing stories so much that she knew she wanted to make it her life's work. One day, Joe invited Lily to join them in their favorite game. While the other sisters feared Lily would laugh at them, he instead added to the fun, leading to a deep friendship among the young neighbors. Life moved along as it does, and it should, and the sisters grew older. They were pulled in different directions. Mac got married, and Amy traveled overseas to pursue her art. Beth was poor in health, and so she stayed home with Mommy. While Jo was worrying about what to do with her life, Mommy wisely said, "Though you have so much extraordinary gifts, how can you expect to lead ordinary life? You are ready to go out and find a good use for your talent." And that is just what she did. Jo was brave and moved to New York on her own to pursue writing. In writing in New York, Jo's writing was a success. She made enough money from her writing to support herself and send money back to her family as well. While in New York, Jo met a man named Professor Bear. Professor Bear challenged Jo not to just worry about making money, but to try and become the great writer he knew her to be. This was hard for Jo to listen to, but great for her to hear. They became close friends, and Jo was taken with the professor's intelligence, kindness, and generosity. When Jo eventually returned home, she knew it was Professor Bear's friendship she would miss more than anything else. The story of our little woman is a much longer tale, and there are many more adventures and stories for you to discover, but there are a few things that I can share with you now. Meg learned to be giving and follow her heart. Jo learned to work hard and attain her dream, and she married Professor Bear. Beth spread much love and kindness, and Amy learned there were more important things to life than worrying about herself, and she married with Lori. And you can see, dear reader, as they grew older, many things changed for March sisters. But one thing that never changed was the friendship and togetherness they shared as sisters and as little women.